I'm going to read you one of our favourite stories called Dr. Ted. You got it. Right, are you ready? You're going to help read this with me because I get a bit muddled. Are you ready? One morning, Ted woke up, got out of bed and bumped his knee. Oh, that's not good, thought Ted. I need a doctor. He looked everywhere, but he couldn't find one. And since Ted couldn't find a doctor, he became a doctor. Dr. Ted didn't have an office, so he made one. Dr. Ted didn't have a big bandage, so he made one of those too. Now, all I need is patience. He thought. So he waited for them to arrive. He waited and he waited and he waited. Nice waiting room, thought Dr. Ted. Then he waited some more. I think it's time up for a house call, he thought. Hello, he called. Dr. Ted's mother was in the kitchen. You have measles, said Dr. Ted. We should operate. Those are my freckles, said his mother. Come on, it's time for breakfast. Oh, she doesn't sound very happy. At school, Dr. Ted sat on the third row of Mrs. Johnson's class. All around him, children coughed and sniffled and sneezed. Dr. Ted smiled. Patients. The patients were very germy. At lunchtime, Dr. Ted took their temperatures and their blood pressure. He gave them good medical advice, and they were very grateful. Dr. Ted was such a good doctor that even Mrs. Johnson came to see him. You can't be a doctor in the canteen, she said. You have mumps, said Dr. Ted. Crutches could help. Those are my cheeks, said Mrs. Johnson. Come on, it's time for lunch. Oh, she's a bit grumpy too. All he's doing is trying to help. Head teacher Bingham walked in. Dr. Ted could tell he was very sick. He needed to see a doctor. We already have a school doctor, and he visits on Friday, said head teacher Bingham with a smile. You have gingivitis, said Dr. Ted. You need a full body cast. Head teacher Bingham frowned. You also have bad breath, said Dr. Ted. You need an injection. The head teacher's face turned bright red. And a fever, said Dr. Ted. You need a transplant. We already have a school doctor. Head teacher Bingham pointed towards the door. Oh. We could do something about those smelly feet, said Dr. Ted. Go home, said head teacher Bingham. Dr. Ted was very sad. He packed up his big bandage and went home. That night he took 2 biscuits and went straight to bed. Oh, he looks really sad. The next day at breakfast, Ted sat on the bench and sighed. He watched Frances Sylvester do gymnastics on the monkey bars. She was very talented. Everyone thought so, especially Mrs. Johnson, the head teacher Bingham. Frances finished her routine with a triple twisting somersault. She landed on Mrs. Johnson. Ouch! cried Mrs. Johnson. My ankle! Head teacher Bingham ran this way and that way. Help! He yelled. Call an ambulance! Call the fire brigade! Call the library! Just call somebody! But Dr. Ted was already there. Look, he had all his kit hiding underneath his coat. He wrapped Mrs. Johnson's ankle with a big bandage. He checked her vision and her tonsils. Take 2 biscuits, he said. You'll feel much better in the morning. Just then the ambulance arrived, and the fire brigade, and the librarians. "It's a good thing you had Dr. Ted," they all said. "There's always room for another school doctor," said Mrs. Johnson. "My work here is done," said Dr. Ted. "Keep the bandage." Head teacher Bingham's face turned bright red. "You really should do something about that fever," said Dr. Ted. That night, Dr. Ted closed his office, packed away his stethoscope, and went to sleep, knowing he had done a good job. The next morning, Ted woke up, got out of bed, and sniffed the air. "Smells like burnt toast." "That's not good," thought Ted. "I need a fire engine." The end. Oh no, who thinks Dr. Ted is going to become a fireman? I do. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you very soon. Mwah. Miss you already. Mwah.